Welcome back to Minus 16, the podcast where we talk everything tech and YouTube. And, that's as much a reminder as anything. It's been a minute.
Yes.
Alex,
It's
hello.
good. It's a nice break.
It's a little hiatus. Hey, a lot of podcasts take a little break, don't they, just to let the dust settle and regain thoughts. And that's exactly what we did. Ours was kind of not necessarily planned, more enforced.
Yes. Yeah. And to be honest, I thought about maybe canning this week again, but I thought, do you know what? We can squeeze an hour, right?
We can do this. We can do this.
And it's easy enough these days to just record and just upload it. And yeah, we'll do a chat anyway.
We are due a chat. So so apologies, we've been away for a little while, but we are now back and hopefully back every 2 weeks with you. As before, business as normal has been resumed. And I think it's normal, yeah. And I think I'm right in saying we've only done one podcast this year. It feels very odd to me, because I was just saying to Alex, I've got this new angle set up. And you'll know what it's like when I'm used to sitting here looking directly at the camera, and now I'm not looking at the camera. It feels, but I'm seeing your beautiful face. So there's a bonus to this.
Honestly, you're being very kind. I'm absolutely knackered, and I look at it as well. It looks like I have aged about 20 years in the last 2 weeks.
You look absolutely fine this end. You look absolutely fine. Let's just hope all the tech holds together, because the only time we did a podcast this year, I had a nightmare on the Saturday. I had this message come up, if you remember, when we were recording, and I had never seen it. But anyway, carried on. Turns out I should have said to you, let's cut. I need to reset. And suddenly I just lost everything. But luckily, Riverside did do its thing, and there was audio. So our last podcast, I think I cut off after about 35 minutes. It was audio only from my side. But
they've been brilliant. To be fair to them, right? They've been amazing. So we can forgive them for a little.
Also, have learnt my lessons. I'm now Ethernetted in as well. So I'm doing everything I can. I've done a lot of changes, and I'm recording this now on the iMac M3 iMac. It used to be done on a MacBook Air, but now I'm doing it on this because it's a much bigger display and everything.
Cool.
I'm feeling very comfortable here. It's taken me a bloody long time to finally work out an angle that works in the studio, but I'm happy. So if you're an audio listener, this isn't a particularly interesting conversation.
Yeah.
And we will be getting round to the audio bit, but just to say, I was just mentioning to Alex, we are now, our RSS feed goes via the YouTube music app as well. So we're on that directory. So if you are listening to us via YouTube, let us know. But looking at the figures, it seems a lot of people have found us on there already. So,
and Joe Rogan, if you're listening, you better watch out, man. We're coming for you.
We're on it, yeah. We're on the same platform as you now. The boys are back in town.
Interesting. I'm sure we can come up with 3-hour content to compete against him.
I'd love to do
every other day as well.
I'd love to do long form like that. I was listening to a podcast this morning where apparently YouTube is now the biggest directory for people switching off of TV and just watching and loving long form. And the rule of thumb seems to be, from what I can gather, 5, 6, 7 minutes on the phone.
Yeah. But
40 minutes TV, coffee, wine, evening. And that's what I do.
Absolutely. I canceled my Sky 2 years ago. I don't have time, first of all, but whenever I do have time to consume content, it's Netflix, maybe Apple TV and YouTube. Yeah.
I'm assuming you've been watching Drive to Survive. Have you caught up with that yet?
I've gone through a few episodes already. It's as soon as it was available, I was like, watch a couple. The reason I watch it as well, obviously I'm a big F1 fan, but I actually like using it for B-roll. So if I'm really testing a phone or testing an iPad, whatever it might be, I'll be watching F1 in the background. I think it just gives the viewers something interesting to look at as well.
So, well, let's keep to our normal format, which is kind of talking about what we've been up to tech-wise to start with. There's a few things we just need to briefly cover right at the top. When we last spoke, that shows how long ago it was. You just got your S24 Ultra.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, and I think on that podcast,
it's been a month and a bit, yeah.
Yeah, on that podcast, you were saying that there were a couple of issues with the cameras and stuff, but having watched your videos, it sounds like you've done a software update and it's cured most of the problems?
No, because the weather's been so bad as well. I haven't really been able to test it after the update. But the main one for me was the colors on the display. It didn't, most people didn't notice. But because I had the S23 Ultra, so it was easy for me to look and compare side by side. So it was clearer to me that there was a problem. So they fixed that. So they've added a vividness slider. Which I like. I like Samsung for that. They really listen to customers and they add a lot of controls and let you customize it. Because a lot of people go, actually, I don't like that because it might look too unnatural. In my case, I'm a little bit like that as well. So if you slide it all the way to the top, it's a little bit too vivid. But they let you adjust. The green, the blue, and the red. You can actually slide it, really adjust it.
Adjust the channels individually.
Yeah. So now it's up to a point where it's the best display on a smartphone, hands down. I don't think there's anything out there right now that can beat it from a display perspective.
And you did have a little scratch on the back, didn't you? How's it lasting up?
Yeah. So durability isn't great. So I'm now belt and braces. I've got this case on here. I actually just tested a different case, but if I take the case out, you will see that there's a skin on it as well.
Right.
So it's a bit late, but yeah.
Oh yes, I saw you put a tweet up about that.
Yes, they look cool and they protect it. And I'm clumsy as hell as well. So even if I'm just doing filming here, I'm likely to knock it and drop it. But yeah, the scratch was bad because it was on the first day, and on that day I was actually using this leather sleeve, so it was going in here. It's got like a felt finish. I was being really
protected as hell, yeah.
So it still scratched it, which tells me that this Gorilla Glass that they say, Victus 2, whatever it is not that.
No.
I mean, if I was able to scratch it by just holding it, it's not great.
I've noticed it on the iPhone as well. The Gorilla Glass isn't all it's supposed to be, and so. But I still haven't put a case on mine, so I know I'm kind of running that risk. But
yeah. So just to close the loop on that one. So they fixed the color issue on the display for me. There were some grainy issues a lot of people were reporting, and I actually did a video yesterday and I covered that. I had to go into some Reddit rabbit holes to discover what the problem was. And it was to do with people smart switching. So if you had a previous Samsung and you migrated it to a new one doing the smart switch thing, it seemed that you got like grainy displays. So the fix there was to reset accessibility settings, which is very random, but that fixed it. And the one to me that's still a bit of a question mark is the camera. So this new 5x lens that they went to instead of keeping the 10x that they had before, I guess they were banking on the fact that they've got a bigger sensor, which to me, logically makes a lot of sense, right? You're getting 5x on a 50 megapixel sensor. You might get a better picture than the 10x on a 12 megapixel sensor. But in reality, whenever you use that 5x lens, you introduce some weird, there's a color shift, the white balance shifts. And there's also a lot of noise. If you actually zoom into things and it's got low light, ridiculous amount of noise in expert RAW. So it's a very niche use case, but it's one that I like a lot. I mean, if for people who like to take photos in high definition and use it for social media and videos, that's quite noticeable. So that to me is a question mark. I haven't really fully tested it yet.
I kind of took a bit of a leaf out of your book, actually. I spent a lot of time in London recently. You've probably seen various pictures. But that was really just it's odd because I've used an iPhone for so long, but I've never really tried to get into the weeds with it. And I've just used every camera feature and function I could think of up in London, which is always a melting pot for any kind of image you want.
Yeah,
and
wherever you look, there's something interesting, right?
Isn't there?
It's like New York and any busy city, right? There's so many cool things to do. Yeah.
And I did it because of content. I thought, well, just get myself out of the safety of the studio, give people something new to look at. So I actually filmed standing in the middle of Piccadilly Circus. But then I was taking the phone with me everywhere, and I've conquered my fears. I can now record in public. I can actually stand.
Everyone's doing it, right? I love going to London because everyone's got a gimbal. Everyone's like filming themselves. It doesn't look out of place.
No, it doesn't. I didn't get one weird look at all.
Up in Windsor or over here in the countryside, it's like, what are you doing? I guess so many people stopping and asking. I actually enjoy talking to people about it because once I actually say to them, "Oh, it's for a YouTube video," I can relax. Then they're kind of, "Oh, right, okay," and they ask about the channel. Usually they do. Yeah.
I had a right funny tickle last week. I'm trying to cover the Apple stores in London. So I've been round to them all. Last week I went to Apple Covent Garden. Beautiful store.
Yeah, I've been to that one, yeah.
I'd imagine it's how an LA store feels. It feels really wonderful. But for about 15 minutes, the archways out the front, in front of the windows. I was standing under there because it was drizzling.
Yeah, I actually watched your shorts on it, yeah.
Yeah, so I was standing, mic, tripod, camera. It's quite obvious what I was doing. Then after about 10, 15 minutes, the manager of the store comes out and says, "Sorry, sir, this is Apple property. You can't record here." So I said, "So if I go forward 6 inches, that's Covent Garden." He said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I've got to go and stand in the drizzle. Oh, and also don't put our Apple logo in.
I was got permission. I'm glad you mentioned it because I was gonna ask how are you filming it there, because I was there with my son last summer
Yep.
and we were both indoors, where they have the little plants and stuff. It
That's
looks
right.
amazing.
It
Yeah,
is.
lots of like natural light coming in. So I was, immediately, right? Content creator, that's what we do, right? We just any
Boom,
opportunity
boom,
to
boom, boom,
film
boom.
stuff. I was recording the displays, recording the iPads. Yeah, tap on shoulder. Can't do that here. So come on, man.
They were the most officious store. I've been to Battersea, Brompton Road, Regent Street. I filmed a short in Regent Street on the top floor. Not a problem at all. It was quite obvious
Yeah.
what I was doing. I wasn't making problems, but they were really, really hot on me.
The
Sorry.
trick is to wear something like a tiny camera. So when I went to pick up
Oh,
my iPhone and I was in Bristol for that one, I wanted to film the experience and whatever. So I just attached a tiny little
yeah, pin
Insta
thing.
360 camera. So in here, so I was like, I'm vlogging this, and if they moan, they moan. But I just made sure that when I uploaded the video, that their faces were pixelated and whatever.
Yeah. No, actually, the manager turned out to be okay because he gave me an email address to get in touch with their media department and said, look, if you want to do it, just get in touch with us a lot first and hope we can get you clearance. So actually,
So you can get
you can.
approval.
I will send you the email address. Yeah, it's one of those hidden
Please.
email addresses. And he said they're normally not too bad. So yeah, that was my little trials. But yes, I've been really enjoying actually getting to the bottom of the phone and seeing what the battery life is actually. Because I spend so much time in the desk on MagSafe, I don't see what it's like. So going out for 8 hours of the day and hammering the camera. And I'm sure what I found is when I've had a heavy day like that and it's backing up to iCloud on the way home, the phone gets hot. And that's where the battery is absolutely hammers it.
Honestly, it's the best way to test batteries. And I know there's so many videos out there that people like just drain the battery, and that tells you something, right? But I always think going out there and actually using the thing will tell you what the worst case scenario is, right? The worst case scenario is go traveling, use navigation, make phone calls, do some work on it, and then film videos and take photos.
Yep.
That's worst case, and that will kill anything. I mean, even the S24 Ultra, which is supposed to have a better battery, it doesn't. If you really use it. I was doing like 8K videos, 8K 30, and then 120 frames per second videos, and you can feel the phone getting warm. And because you're traveling and doing navigations, all that stuff,
That's exactly what I was doing.
battery,
I was using streaming music on the way up, Apple CarPlay. I even used keyless, so I didn't take my car key with me. I used keyless. I was doing everything I could off of the phone, and I got back with about 8 hours both times, and I got back with about 12% left. So it was tough. It was only an 8-hour day, but I loved it.
and that's the 15 Pro, right? Not the Pro Max. That's not bad actually. No, the Pro Max. Okay,
Pro
fine.
Max.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was the Pros, that's not bad.
So let's just do a quick take because it's been that long. We were on dial-up. I don't think the last time we did a podcast. You've got to call it the Apple Pro Vision, haven't you? The Apple Vision Pro. Quick thoughts on that? I mean, now we've sort of all been contented out to hell on it. Where are you at with it?
I was 4 years, literally, since 2019 or whatever, when the first rumors came out. I actually did a couple of videos on it. It's like rumors, I was excited about it, and I was excited about the tech. And now I don't know. Now that I've seen where we are, it's almost like a cold blanket on top of my excitement, because it's like, it looks like crap, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, just your take on it. Yeah,
people who actually have it seem to say that they're really excited about it, and they use it, and they're actually enjoying it. But now that I don't know, it's been a month, right?
Yeah, exactly a month. Yeah.
People, I'm starting to see people like, well, I don't actually use it anymore. It's kind of on the side over there, and I use it maybe once a week. So it's become one of those things that is almost like a proof of concept. Like Apple are going, okay, we got it out there. We're collecting data now, just seeing how people use it. What do we need to bring in? So I'm kind of okay. Well, let's see what happens in 2 years, right? And whenever the next one comes out.
Yeah, I think it was Ming Chi Kuo put up a tweet yesterday saying 2027 is going to be the next meaningful update. I mean, clearly there's going to be software updates between now and then, but before. And also this week, there's always a gate with Apple, isn't there? And it's Crackgate. That's what it's been called. That's not my name.
I've seen lots of people with cracked ones as well, yeah.
And apparently it's a line straight down the middle of the screen where the curve is. So the thought is there's something odd in the design there. I don't know how Apple are going to deal with it. It's going to be a recall.
So it's not people bumping it.
No,
it's actually just wearing it normally eventually.
Yeah, because there's been a whole host of different people, all different parts of the world, with this absolutely die straight crack down the middle of the screen and exactly the same position.
People
So-
with the big heads.
and big wallets to go with it if they've got an Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
My thoughts are mixed on it, really. I love where we're at with it. You know, I've never been an AR VR wearer. Clearly, being Apple, it's something I've looked at a lot. I will definitely book a demo, but I can't see me. The only thing that really appealed to me was the mirroring the Mac display. So you can have a massive display, but then
I'm curious about that because people, I see people, I can edit videos on it and whatever. So, well, how is that really as efficient and as good as doing it on the Mac, or
well, the thing
or is
is
it
that,
just a gimmick thing?
well,
right?
yeah, I think it's a gimmick because it's not a Retina display. And I've got so used to, I'm sitting here looking at a £1,500 M3 iMac that's a Retina display. Why would I want to trade down and work on something that's less good? Okay, it's huge.
Yeah.
So
I guess if you're at a cafe and it was definitely better, then there's an argument, right? You getting that convenience of being somewhere else and enjoying perhaps your Twitter feed on one side and whatever. So there's that spatial awareness thing or spatial computing part of it that I do think is cool. But yeah, I don't know if I was just at the studio with my monitor, would I want to go out and I need the Vision Pro because it's better? I don't know if that's the use case anyway. But.
So no, like you said, it's almost a bit of a damp blanket. We've seen it, but what I think we've touched on this before. What is kind of sad and I don't know, it's the thirst. You and I are well aware of how much content has to be made, and it was that short, brief bubble with the Vision Pro that it came, and now it's gone. Everyone was waiting for 6 months for it, and there was a huge peak.
I don't think there was a bubble. I mean, there was Marquez's video, and that killed everyone else's. I mean, that's what I saw. I was like,
yeah,
because consumers will go, that's the one that's in the news, right? Marquez did his video, and you go in there and you watch his. You might watch some of the others, like
him and Casey did it.
Casey
did a brilliant take on it. Yeah, but his wasn't a review, was it? His was a typical Casey thing.
No, and when you look at the kind of the next layer down of big channels, their views were mediocre at best.
Yeah.
I think as a content creator, that kind of put another blanket on the whole thing because I was like, maybe I'll get it for content because I do want to experience it. But now it's like, okay, well, that won't do anything for the channel.
It won't, no.
But maybe when there's a global release, right? And there's a bigger.
Even then, as you said, everyone's got the go-to. Everyone's seen Marquez. Everyone knows what it can do, what it's about. I don't know if it's really going to have a second wave or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's funny. It's so many returns, though, right? So many people. I don't know what the statistics stats are on that, but a lot of people returned it, right?
Yeah, because returns deadline I think was last Friday. I think so. They haven't made it at the typical Apple, of course. They haven't said what their return figures are, but they're expected to be fairly high. So yeah, that's our take on it. It's kind of been gone. Wait for it to come to the UK. I'll get to London. It was almost
like more excited. Like it was more exciting talking about it before.
Waiting for it, yeah. Because I did a couple of follow-up videos with Marcus, and he turns. Somebody actually watched one of our videos we did last year, Marcus and I, and they were saying, "Man, he got a lot right. He knows his stuff when it comes to AR VR." I was a very lucky man to find him because he knew his stuff. He got so much right. Even now, where they're actually trying to work on 8K 3D video for sports games, he said that last year. So he knows his stuff. But so that's the Apple Vision Pro. So on to things that are more current. In we're now sort of transitioning seasons, and we'll cover it in a minute. Apple event in March confirmed. It'll make sense later on. I promise it'll make sense later on.
Not really.
Not really.
Clickbait.
I wouldn't ever. Yes. So we are expecting, for full clarity, we're expecting an event in March from Apple, either on the Tuesday 12th or Tuesday 26th of March. It looks like there's going to be 6 devices released there of various magnitudes. The 2 headliners are iPad Pro, a brand new 13-inch models coming in. The 12.9 goes, getting a 13-inch, and both the iPad Pros are going to have OLED. Now, if that, just those 2 points alone, if it's an OLED iPad, and I've had one iPad mini, my mum's old iPad mini, that's the only iPad I've ever owned. Never owned an iPad Pro, but I think I'm going to dip my toes in the water and try it.
Yeah. So here's my. I mean, I've done a little bit of research on this. I haven't really spent a lot of time on it. I do. The iPad. I've had a love and hate relationship with it because, I always thought the iPad could always be more than what it is. So I'm not gonna kind of get overexcited about it because I've been burned before. But I hope this time we do get some software updates because the hardware is beautiful, right? And they are going to make it more capable again. If they put the M3 chip, is that what they're doing?
M3's coming. M3, yeah.
Gosh,
you've got the M2 iPad, haven't you?
It's crazy. I sold my M1 iPad Pro, and that had the mini LED, right? Display.
Mini, yeah.
It's incredible already, right? It was beautiful, and I do miss that display. But from a usability perspective, my go-to is actually either the iPad Air. If I'm at home, the iPad Air is probably my go-to because I don't really do 3D modeling or anything crazy on it. Or the M2 iPad Pro, the 11-inch now.
Right.
So I completely got rid of the bigger one, and yeah, I mean the M1 iPad Air is what's getting the most use for me. So yeah, I'm kind of excited for the prospect of what he will be able to do, but it so much relies on Apple just making iPad OS more capable. iPad OS 18 is what needs to change. And do you know anything that's coming on that front?
No, so far all the talk about that is, of course, well, the majority of the talk is all looking at what's going to be happening in the EU this year with the regulation change they've got to make there, which is coming in March into April. So by the time we get to WWDC and to later in the year, we'll know more. But no, they haven't made any song and dance about any major releases coming in March, certainly, for the iPad.
That's what's bugging me a little bit.
M3 and OLED. That's the big ones.
Because so they will promote the new iPad and will probably showcase iPad OS 17 still then, rather than talk, because and that worries me a little bit because it's the things that, in my opinion, need to change are the features of the software to make the iPad more useful. I mean, I know Stage Manager was a good step in the right direction, but I don't know if that's enough really for me. I mean, I hadn't even seen Stage Manager in action until I went up into London. And generally, when I'd gone to the stores, the iPad had no interest for me at all. But I think all these rumours recently just made me think, okay, what's going on? And I began having a play, and so at least I've seen how Stage Manager works, and I can see that it's useful on the iPad because I've got it turned off on the MacBook Air. It's just no point when you've got a desktop; it doesn't help at all. Yeah.
So I can see that it makes it more productive. I'm guessing. Well, obviously, also you've got experience of having used Final Cut and Logic on the iPad.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was thinking on the drive here this morning. I was thinking, okay, let's kind of try and get excited about the iPad again, And I thought, okay, well, as a creator, that would be the first thing to try. And my issue, and I remember talking to you about this, right, was that it wasn't that flexible again, right? It was same look and feel. Could I edit a full video like one of my my basic YouTube review videos? Sure. But I can't use any of my plugins, and a lot of my videos are adding even just a simple split screen like what we're seeing here. I use a plugin for that, and it to not be able to use that would make it unusable for me.
Yeah, I mean,
Logic
and also,
Pro, I haven't tried it. I mean, I've got it, but I haven't tried it.
And also, you said it's fairly one way, didn't you? That you could start a project on the iPad.
That was the main thing. Yeah, the main use case for me would be to, okay, got to 6 p.m. I've got to go home, have dinner, and maybe just relax on the couch and do some editing while I'm there, like a little bit of final touches, or maybe adding the music layer in there, some sound effects using the iPad. But you can't finish the work on the MacBook and then continue it on the iPad. It's a bit weird that. Yeah,
I mean,
can't do that.
Obviously, I'm not a Final Cut and Logic user, so I won't be able to try. I'd almost thought, is it worth me trying to get used to them just to try it out on the iPad? I don't know if I will or not. But so no, the main headlines for the iPad itself is thinner at 5mm that we just said. M3's coming to it, and the OLED displays, and bigger at 13 inches. Then the two devices. Well, there's another iPad. Before I get into those, there is an iPad Air. There's now going to be a 12.9-inch iPad Air. They're only getting M2. Obviously, they want to keep a line in the sand between the iPad Pros and the iPad Airs, and I know you said the iPad Air is kind of one of your favourites.
Mainly because, if it could do more, if it was worth, I mean, I'm annoyed that I spend, I don't remember, I got the 1 terabyte option on the M1 iPad Pro when it first came out with the 16 gig RAM. And it's like, and it's my fault for being silly, right? Because like, I was hoping that a few months later, this was March 2022, that they would come up with some apps that could take advantage of all of that. In reality, my knowledge is a bit old on this now, but I don't know if there are any apps out there outside Procreate, which I think can take advantage of more memory. But even then, it's like, we're not talking gigabytes of memory.
Yeah.
They use a few hundred meg, So it's, that's an advice I'll say to people, right? If you want to buy the new iPad, just be careful on the configuration, because the reality is most of the apps that you use are not going to need a lot of memory.
Well, yeah, I'm think I'm going to buy mine with 512 gigs of storage on, because I'm going to try and actually use it. It's not just going to be a show pony. I haven't decided on how much RAM to get on it. Again, a lot of that depends on where they go price-wise, because there's a lot of rumours. Well, they seem to have changed this week. There have been rumours that the prices were going to go up by $200 to $500 because of OLED, which is a big, big uplift. This week, they said the rumours now that the price are going to remain more static. I don't know. iPads aren't selling particularly well, so
that's the challenge for Apple, right? So how would they convince someone like me, who I love the iPad, I love tablets in general. I've got the Tab S9 Ultra as well. How would they convince someone like me to upgrade from my M2 iPad Pro? Yeah,
exactly.
Or even if I still had my M1 iPad Pro.
Yeah,
that was still going. I mean, even the battery was fine, everything was working fine. How do you convince me? Is it just a Magic Keyboard? Because I've been in that situation before as well on the 2017 iPad Pro, before they went with the nice design. I think I waited until 2021 or maybe 2022 to get the new model, because there was nothing in there. And in the end, it was like, even the only thing that was in there that made me consider every year is the Magic Keyboard. So maybe that upgrade is what we'll get to.
There's another, so we've had the first two devices of the iPad Pro, iPad Air. Then the next two devices that go along with the iPad Pro, there's an Apple Pencil Gen 3 that's meant to be having Find My on it, some new magnetic tips as well.
And of course, I'm trying really hard not to roll my eyes, but yeah,
and it's going to be 150 quid. And of course, the camera on the iPad Pros is now going to go landscape, so they've had to find a different way to charge the pencil. So there is going to be a new Magic Keyboard, and the pencil's going to go in the hinge.
That I like. That
I think it's great. Safety, storage.
Long overdue. Yeah, that's like, come on. And hopefully that will change how others do that as well, because in the industry, the whole keyboard, pencil, it's just badly designed, right? It's just like you have to magnetically attach to it, and you just end up forgetting it and losing it.
And because it is a portable device, it's designed to be used away from home most of its life. So I think that is typical of that's when Apple get things right. So it's
and it's going to come with a little not air tag, but the ability to.
Well, it's got Find My on it. It's got Find My, But so with the pencil, it's got Find My, but on the Magic Keyboard, which has got an aluminium base that looks more like a MacBook, it's going to have it's meant to have more incremental.
It's a different
hinges.
Stand as well, right? So you can use it flatter.
Flat. There's maybe like a clipboard thing, so I can sit on the desk at a very low angle. And then the pencil.
I'm more excited about that than the actual iPad. Yeah.
Well, it should be, because that's going to be expensive as well. It's meant to be about 350 quid. It's going to be an expensive. The trackpad gets bigger. And
you say that, right? 350, and then you compare that with what Samsung did 3 years ago, and there, I mean, Daniel, for example, will probably shoot me down here, but I hated that keyboard. I went in the store, I was like, Jesus, I can't use this, because one of the use cases for the keyboard is to put it on your lap and use it as a computer. With the Samsung one, it's a bit cumbersome. You can't do that unless you say, well, actually, you're just using it wrong, and it's meant to be used on a flat surface. I get that, but that was 350. When it first came out.
Maybe it's not too bad a value then. And the other thing that's coming to iPad is MagSafe, apparently. So it's going to have some sort of glass back to it, and then the back of the Magic Keyboard is going to be able to use MagSafe as well.
Yeah, and reverse charging, right?
Reverse
Yeah,
wireless, yeah.
yeah. So that's cool. That's I'm not. Yeah, I thought that was already there, to be honest.
No, apparently not. So that's 4 of the items, and the other 2 are MacBook Airs, get the 13 and 15 inch get M3, and there's gonna also be the Mac Minis get M3. So that's kind of everything.
So the
that's coming.
MagSafe thing, I was just thinking, the penny just dropped.
Yep.
You can see more accessories, right? For like stands and things like
exactly.
that. We can reverse charge, but here's a few
desk stands and so on, and
new accessories. Yeah.
So that's what we're supposed to be getting in March. So kind of, it's been a long wait for me because it's been 6 months since there's been any devices to write about or report on. It's really weird because, I've said to people, it's been very quiet for Apple. And they say, the Vision Pro. And I said, yeah, but that's been it. And not everybody wants to read about it.
That's more like, like when Dyson released their headphones. It's one of those things that is not for everybody. It's more to kind of say, hey, we are innovating. We are pushing the boundaries here. And fair play to them, they are. And I'm excited for the tech in general because that's now getting others to like Meta
invest
to
in
invest
AR.
it. And hopefully Samsung and others will follow suit as well. But so that excites me because it will push others, and competition is great, right? But it's not a mass product yet.
It's a niche product. It's only available in the US at the moment. It's $3,500, which clearly not everybody has that sort of money to spend. So it's been a long wait.
I'd say if that was $2,000, they would sell a lot more, and maybe that's what they should have done.
Well, that's one of the rumors, isn't it? Are they going to be doing a Vision, not a Vision Pro? Will there be a more economic? Well, I don't know, but
a Vision Pro. I don't know.
But as we're
Vision Pro.
We're recording at the moment, they've got problems enough with crackgate and so on. So I think where there's been stories of the glass being down the middle.
Maybe they knew this is gonna it's a proof of concept sort of thing, right?
Testing the water.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad because I'm just glad that there's new content coming because it's been a long time coming since Scary Fast last October with the M3 MacBook Pros. There's been nothing for me to really write about.
Yeah, that's not too bad, right? It's they've been busy. I mean, if you look at the Mac lineup, to be fair to Apple, they've been really busy on the M2 chip stuff and now M3s. So I think that that's they're fine. I mean, it's like I said, for me, the hardware in all of these things. I bought the M2 MacBook Air, the 15-inch MacBook Air.
Yes, I remember you got that. Yeah,
awesome, absolutely awesome. I mean, MacBooks, you can't fault them. They are incredible. I'm still on my M1 Max MacBook Pro, and it doesn't sweat at all. I mean, there's starting to get feel maybe it's more software related than anything, but it still runs everything I need it to run perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think it's it's great to see. New Macs always excite me as well, and I'm probably going to get the MacBook Air again,
the M3.
Yeah, I mean, just because those devices they're incredible. They're really, since the first Air, I thought as a piece of technology, fair play. I mean, they are amazing.
Yeah, I don't use mine enough, actually. I've got the 13-inch M2 MacBook Air, and it's a great... Every time I actually get to use it, I realise just how good it is.
Honestly, yeah. It's one of those that it's a luxury item for a lot of people to kind of have that. But even if I had that just as my main thing, and if I didn't do content creation, it's awesome. I mean, for commuting, for traveling, it's just like the battery will last all day. And it's light and it doesn't get in the way. There's no need for cables. I mean, that's what a laptop should be, and arguably, it's what the iPad could do.
Well, of course, this
didn't have the software hindrance.
Well, this will be my first test into the world. Hopefully, into the world of iPads. It's going to be interesting to see how a confirmed MacBook user is going to get on with an iPad.
Yeah, honestly, I always liked iPads. I've had all of them, but I think the only one I haven't tried yet is the Mini. And I know I will like them because I think there's a lot of, when I use my Fold, it's almost like a mini tablet when you open it, right? So I think it's definitely a good device as well. And I don't know what they're doing on the Mini, if anything, this
time,
are they? Yeah.
No, nothing. It's just the Air and the Pro that are getting attention at the moment.
It's a shame, but that maybe that's later. I don't know.
So that's kind of the what's coming up in March, we think. So sort of segueing neatly into some of the YouTube stories.
Yes.
As we speak today, It was always going to come to me at some point. I've had a video that's doing pretty well for itself. I put it up yesterday afternoon at 7, and live details on it is that it is 5,570 views and done me 74 subs.
Amazing. Wow.
And it's got a 10% click-through. Right, so the video is performing. Now, the video had a thumbnail just of an iPad, all new. The title of the video is what's caused a little bit of consternation. Apple March event confirmed.
Brilliant.
Now, you're in the business. You know exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
On the whole, most of the comments have been really, really supportive. And when
How
people
can
actually
you argue with that, right? If you read, the fine print, it's not really confirmed, but how can it not be confirmed?
Yeah, I mean, I've given, in the video at the end, I've given 2 dates of when we expect it to be. There was some guy said, oh, what, when's it confirmed then? And I said to him, what, you didn't get the invite? I mean, you can get as bitchy with them as you want. I decide not to do that because, your digital footprint's out there forever and a day. Yeah. So I don't want to get nasty. But equally, they've got to understand, because I had another guy that's actually watched me quite regularly came on and said, it's a shame you've gone that route. And I've said, I don't want to. But look at what's happened to the video.
Exactly that. So an example, I uploaded a boring video yesterday. It's still a popular subject, especially for my channel, and I had no choice but
the S24.
So yeah, the S24
Is that holding the phone between you were holding the phone? Yeah.
Yeah, but just to give you an idea of the numbers, right? You just mentioned you got 75 subs on 5,000 views, right?
Yeah.
So that video I uploaded yesterday got 12,000 views and 75 subs. So, your video is more popular. People are, I think, ultimately, if you want to ruffle a few feathers without, there's that fine line, right, between clickbait, which is like you don't deliver anything, and actually content. And as a small creator, we have to be very close to that line all the time.
Yeah.
We have no choice. People are not going to go, if you uploaded that video and it said new iPad revealed, or,
exactly.
People wouldn't click on it.
The full title was, bear in mind it was an iPad Pro in the thumbnail. The full title was Apple March event confirmed, new iPad Pro and more. And I go through all 6 things.
That's very smart.
And because I covered the bases, and I do give the dates that they're expecting the event to be on. And I actually said to one of the people, and I've got the utmost respect for Prosser. He's a genius. He's brilliant at what he does. But you look at his titles, they're often clickbait.
Yeah.
And he'll be the first to admit, even at his size.
You have to. And we don't do it enough.
I think I've been too polite. I've been too polite. And I just decided with this one just to roll my sleeves up a little bit and play the game. And that's what I've answered every one of the comments that's come on and hated on me. And I've said, live a day in my life. I put up a video a couple of weeks back saying something like, let's chat. I've had it, I don't know, no views at all. And if I put that video up with a really bland title, you can guarantee it wouldn't get the traction. YouTube are putting it out. YouTube are giving it, I think I just saw 35,000 impressions.
It's getting people to click, and people are,
engaging on the platform.
They're engaging. They're subscribing, which means they didn't see your video as clickbait. If people clicked and within a few seconds they clicked off, your video would be dead by now, right? But the fact that you are delivering on the message, i.e., people are clicking and actually enjoying the content.
Yeah.
So right? That you had to push the boundaries a little bit on. You do say confirmed, the event confirmed, which is, the first thing you say. That's what people, if people are like excited about the event and clicked on that, I can see how they would be annoyed. But at the same time, I watched some of that video, by the way. What you say in the video is exactly what I'd expect. If the only thing you don't have is a date. Yeah. Well, how is that important, right?
But if I put in the title, there may be a March event.
Unless you're going, unless you're going to the event, or I don't know. I think last weekend I did a similar thing where I said, I think disappointment. I used the word disappointment, big disappointment.
Yeah.
And in the video, there's a section in the video where I do talk about 3 or 4 points that are disappointments about the phone. So it's actually...
Yes, I'd watched it, yeah.
But if you just read the title, and some people did comment, clickbait, what was the disappointment then? It's like, well, did you watch the bloody video?
Yeah, through to the end, yeah.
Clearly you didn't, right? Because he probably clicked on the video thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be a rant. And it's, the video is mostly me talking about the good experience that I've had. But in there's a bit where it's actually there's some bits that are wrong. But we have to do that. If I just said, here's my review after 1 month, like my month later review, I'd get like 3,000 views. And
exactly. And I've realised, as I say, I've been too polite. I've been too afraid of getting the haters on. And I thought, you know what, I just need to grow a pair and man up and do what everybody else does. And the thing is, again, I've said to these people, if you watch, you'll see that I come from a journalistic background. I've written about it. There's a blog out about it. And as you know, I repurpose all my content. So I did research. I spent a good few hours.
It's awesome. It's absolutely
reading.
Accurate. It's not actually, there's
It's
some
not
of
a
these
sensationalist video.
That's what I was going to say, right? I watched, and I got some people to help me. We can talk about that later. But one of the girls helping me to research and stuff. I said, right, go look at this thing and produce me some what you found about the new iPads. And I got this thing back, with a link to I won't mention the creator, but it was like, oh no, you didn't actually watch that video, did you? But yeah, it's those shouty, like sensationalist. Oh my God, Apple again! They did something amazing. It's like, it's just a new iPad, It's nothing like. I mean, let's not go crazy here.
No, and the thing
but
is,
you don't do that, right? It's factual, and it's chilled, and it's you kind of just like a mate talking to me when I'm at the pub discussing.
That's exactly the vibe I'm trying to go for, because you know that I don't script. I now just have a conversation with the camera. I try to be really relaxed about it. And okay, none of us like reading that. It's all well and good to say, oh, well, it affects all of us. But I've just had to take the bigger picture, and I'm looking at the stats. Clearly, YouTube likes it. Clearly, the people that actually watch it like it. Even the people that hate it are watching it. So. Yeah, I don't know what to do.
No, to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I've been in that situation. I kind of crossed that line a couple of times, right? And yes, I got the views. Yes, I got a lot of attention. Lots of comments and engagement. But long term, that may not be the best route. If you do that a lot, right? No, for example, in one of my thumbnails, I used the S word, and I think it was actually about the iPad. Or I said, I don't know, I used the word bollocks in there, but yeah, what a load of bollocks I said. It's fun, right? And you're gonna get lots of clicks and people who watch your video. But if a sponsor is watching your videos and then they see that, you're probably not, you're probably not going to be on the top of that pile to go, right. No. We need to engage with this guy, right? So there's a brand perspective as well for your personal brand.
Yeah.
That you need to look at. So the clickbait stuff, just got to be careful with it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do that week after week. I've already thought of the follow-up to that video. I think it's going to be an iPad video. Be honest, but that's not hardcore.
It's not, I mean, what you said is nothing. Absolutely nothing, right?
And equally,
we're not brave enough sometimes.
Yeah, and equally, if there, as you said, I just said about your digital footprint's out there for life. If I'd engage with these people and gone into like slagging them off, sponsors could read that. They can see how I've dealt with them. And most of them, I've had a conversation with and said, okay, tell me how I could do better. And I'm very well aware of that what we do is out there for long term. So we've got to be careful how we approach things. And I don't want to piss people off. Clearly I don't. I'm happy to have a conversation and put my point over to people.
No, and I thought about this before, and I think I went back and changed a couple of thumbnails as well.
Yes, I think you may be saying that.
And maybe that's a strategy, right? And I don't know what the right answer is. Maybe the strategy is, right, get as many clicks as possible without being clickbaity, but kind of on that close to that line. But then after the video naturally reaches its
shelf life, yeah,
maybe at that point change the thumbnail, change the title to something a little bit more so that it looks. But I don't know, that there's something disingenuous about that. It doesn't feel right.
This is the first video I've not had to panic about changing titles and thumbnails, because I've had a really bad year so far. I couldn't catch a cold. I had a really good December, January and February, just right off. I don't know why, but what content I was making, partly because there wasn't a lot new because I decided to hold off the Samsung S24 because I thought there's too many good creators, you, Daniel, making good content about it. I didn't think I could bring anything that was quality to it. So I decided I was going to wait for the iPad Pro and put my money into that. And because I genuinely like Apple products, it's what I use. And if I understand them better, that's going to come across in the content, right? So, I've been waiting for the Pro and it's coming now, but I kind of decided very much to stay in. We've spoken before about staying in your lane, and I've decided to really knuckle down and really get known as an Apple channel and get focused on it.
Especially when time is so so valuable and actually so scarce as well, right? So you've got you've got your other job as well. We're not full-time content creators yet, so I think it's I said yet in there, just to be clear. Hopefully that will change. But because of that, I get lots of comments sometimes. Oh, someone said the other day, it's like, well, there's hundreds of comments, right? But there's always one that kind of go, oh gosh. They said, oh, rinse and repeat then, is it? Or something like that. It's like, my answer was, absolutely. I've got no choice but to rinse and repeat right now. I'd love to be out there. I mean, I've got plenty of content, to create, ideas to create. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
So to keep things simple and efficient, and for the algorithm not to kill you, sometimes it's best to just focus on one thing, and I don't think if anything, that's actually not a bad strategy at all.
Well, I kind of also figured, I'm not saying I know a lot about anything, but these are the things I use most and I've got most knowledge day to day. And somebody actually did say on that video, the nice thing is you're not telling us what a Geekbench test will do. You're telling us how you're actually thinking of using it. And it's like, well, exactly. Yeah. Trying to keep it as honest as possible, but
there's no right or wrong way of creating content, right? And you can change, you can pivot your channel anytime you want, right? It's your own. If you personally find a different interest, whatever, right? It's like, it's your channel. I've thought of it many times, like, to kind of just focus on one thing and like maybe stay in that very specific niche. But it wouldn't suit my own like style, because I do like to try different things. So I don't know. There's no right or wrong, basically, right? It's just.
No, there's not. And you've got to have a thick enough skin. If you're going to do this, you're putting your head above the precipice. You're always going to have somebody who wants to sling something at you. You can't, the old adage, you can't please all the people all the time. It's forever going to be true. We do our best. We put in a hard day's work. We create genuine content. We work hard at creating really new content all the time and not stealing B-roll or
0.9% of the people will see that, right? And there's only going to be one person in there that will say, yeah.
And equally, I haven't taken the comments down. I could have done that, but I thought, no, let's leave it up there. If people want to talk about that, talk about it.
If they're not vicious, right? If they're open to for an argument, then great. I just don't. I can't bear like when someone leaves a comment and doesn't provide anything for a debate. In that case, it's either ignored or hidden from channel, because well, you're just being vicious. But that is so rare, right? Most of the comments in both channels for me is just like, just awesome to read. I mean, sometimes just get out just to respond to comments. And actually yesterday videos, because I was running out of time, didn't have anything in the can, I was like, I'll just respond to a few comments. And that was the video. I responded to 5 or 6 comments. Yeah.
Yes, but again, because time beats us all, sometimes just got to do what you got to do. And I said I've been in London a lot recently. That wasn't just because I wanted to get out of here. It was actually to try and give viewers something different. And I thought if there's a viewer in the States and I'm walking around different Apple stores in London, that actually could be quite an interesting vibe. As you know, it doesn't come cheap going to London. You're from, so I park at Harrods. Now, it sounds like we're being really extravagant. There is a reason to it. It means I don't have to go into the congestion charge. So I save 15, 20 quid from the congestion charge. The first time I parked there, though, I'd just driven down this little, I don't know if you've ever used it, it's a little muse you drive down. And I'd seen the tariff. And I got to where the gate, I said, mate, come on, can you let me turn around and go down? I've just seen how much you're charging. And this guy, he was so funny. He was almost like a market trader. He convinced me how good it was to leave my car there. So I did. And I walked through Green Park into London. And to be honest, you can't get into London cheaply no matter what. If you're going by train, car, it's going to cost you money. But that's the point. People don't see, every time I go to London, it's probably 100 quid gone by the time you park, eat, blah, 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 blah. But I just think it brings something new. And this is the legwork we put in because we want to bring you. I've seen you endlessly around Bath and taking pictures everywhere and, drone shots. The drone costs money. And, if this video earns me a few quid, great, fine. I'm not going to, as I said, I've got to try and earn a bit of a living.
Yeah. I think, it's so hard to kind of be unique, right, on YouTube. So anything to make it interesting and make it, and sometimes just, if you've got a good story, fantastic. But in tech, it's so hard to let's tell a story about the new iPad. It doesn't go hand in hand unless you go into the lifestyle route, right? And you're just kind of showing off
a Canucci kind of thing. Yeah.
There's a few. I mean, Andres, there's so many great content creators, usually in their 20s, that people aspire to. Oh man, this guy's so cool. I'm not like that, and we're kind of past that a little bit. But what we do have is experience, and lots of knowledge to share. So telling stories kind of works, but not as well as if it was in a lifestyle video. So we have to kind of just try to be different, with what we're showing. So it's it's using that time properly.
You said you've got some people trying to help you now. So what sort of areas are they working on the channel for you?
Nothing crazy, right? I mean, I just needed some help while because I'm now busier than ever. I mean, since I started doing YouTube, this is the busiest I've ever been on my other job. So I just thought, well, I could just kind of step on the brakes for a bit, which I don't mind doing, and then when things get improved later in the year, hopefully I can focus more on YouTube. Or I could just get someone to help me with, like a temp. So it's they're both what do you call it? They're contractors basically, right? So they come in. There's no commitment. Like, if I decide next week that there's nothing for them to do,
are they virtual? Are they actually in with you?
Sometimes they come in. Yeah, so they'll come in a day a week, 2 days a week, but it's mostly remote. They're both learning. One is a very experienced. That she used to be marketing anyway, and she's helping with branding and things like that. She's only just started last week, so early days. And the other one is helping with my Instagram. So it's kind of things that I should be doing, but I'm kind of if I can focus on creating the content and let the posting for them to manage and be strategic about it, and as long as it's got my input, so it's not,
you'll feel to it,
and then it's just time really that's saving me.
And well, I mean, I've been busier on Instagram now and put on regularly, but actually, again, if you're listening, you won't see it. But I've got this new setup where and you'll understand it. I can sit in one position now, do the podcast here. I can also do shorts here. I can just swing the Canon around. I've got a monitoring view, and I can do everything just within a few seconds. And yesterday was one of my best days ever because I posted that video that we just spoken about. I did a short, for which I must thank you for CapCut. CapCut has saved me probably, I don't know, an hour and a half editing in Premiere Pro.
For sure, and for like adding captions, right?
That's what I use it for. Yeah. So I shoot it on the Canon, bung it in, put the captions on, and 90% is accurate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's amazing. I've just actually paid for the Pro version.
Incredible. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's great. It's worth every penny.
But yesterday I was able to do a full video, record a short, upload a short, and also record the members newsletter as well. All because I've got this one setup now that does it all. I can just sit in this one position. Because before, when I did the podcast, you used to literally physically move furniture around to get things ready. Now I can just come in, sit down, bang, ready to go. And it's made such a difference in the amount of content I can get out. I'm hoping to record a short when we finish, actually. That's my plan. Whether it works, and I don't know. That's my plan.
We were just talking earlier, right, about Peter McKinnon's setup.
Yeah,
I was like, actually, it's not that frictionless. I mean, there's everything in one place, and it's got this like rig on top of his desk.
Yeah, C-standing. Yeah.
But it's actually not that. It looks a bit cumbersome, to be honest.
No, I think you may have got. We get. I mean, the amount of content we get through. That's the thing. Yeah. You do need to have a good system in place, don't you? Because we're cracking through content, and you just need to have something,
especially when you're really busy and you don't have a lot of time. You want to have something that is like, just press record and go.
Well, even today, I just before we started, I finished writing, put that onto Medium. Medium, by the way, is doing another one of its Medium things.
I heard it's terrible. Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone. But then I've decided I'm kind of getting experienced enough with that. They seem to go in 3-month cycles. So January dipped to another really stupid low. The figures that closed on February yesterday were 50% up on January. Still not good, but an improvement, and it will come back. So I kind of thought, shall I throw my toys out the pram? And I thought, no, just carry on doing what you do. It'll come back.
Yeah,
We both work for algorithms. So
no, exactly. and in my view is, even if it doesn't, right? There's definitely as long as you're linking your videos on the articles and things like that, it does help, right? Having SEO, having stuff like deep links, they call it, right? Having stuff that gets to your content somehow. It's all good signals to YouTube.
Yeah, and my website started to earn a tiny little bit now from AdSense on there. So people are clearly clicking on my website as well and finding it, So all those little, it's just, I think the point we're getting across is it's the work you don't see, it's all the little steps we do every day that try to hopefully make the channel work. Doing the shorts and doing the long form, short form, writing about whatever. It just all takes time, but I'm loving it, but
Yeah, the Q1, this Q1, I definitely felt, if I'm glad I don't depend on YouTube because, I definitely see the numbers now going, oh my gosh, it's the lowest it's been. January was terrible. Even the brand deals that we normally get, they normally get in Q1, well, at least last year, this year was like, it's like, is anyone investing in advertising?
Yeah.
Because, they were very far and few in comparison to very few in comparison to last year for this time of the year anyway.
Yeah, I've got a couple of people sniffing around, only kind of low-key budget things.
Yeah.
Somebody found me on Medium, and he's got quite a nice bit of software, actually. It's kind of a to-do kind of thing, Notion-y kind of bit of software. It's not going to earn me a lot, but he really wants me to write about it. So for the money he's offering, I think writing about it kind of makes sense.
Okay.
And then there was a good old security camera company got in touch with me, but that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
Wants the world and doesn't want to pay. He just wants to send me the product. It's like, nah, that's not
no
really
thanks. Yeah. So,
yeah. I saw your tweet actually, sort of when somebody offered you that, saying, "Yeah, let me just ask the landlord if he'll accept a bit of Voltec."
I was being a little bit facetious there, but it's true, right?
It's true enough, yeah.
Yeah, and some of them are quite small, so you kind of you don't have to spend a lot of time saying no to them. But some of these brands are quite big, and you can tell that they sponsor bigger creators. And I wanted to talk to you about something that I'm not sure you've been aware of, which is creators. How do I say this without sounding like a dick? Inflating the numbers, right? So there's people out there who will upload a video. Their channels are, I'm talking, over 2 million subscribers. They've been in the business for over a decade.
Okay.
And they are uploading the video, and you can tell that they are then boosting either via click farms probably, or just buying views, fake views somehow, right? So there's a difference between putting ads, so you kind of, you can buy YouTube advertising and YouTube will share your video, but people still have to click on them and watch them for a bit to count as a view. But that's a way of boosting, right? And that works. But what I'm talking about is different. And I'll share some, I tweeted about this, but I'll share for the show notes links to it and some screenshots as well that we can show maybe in the video. I'm not sure. But you can definitely see it. So the first couple of days, you see this huge spike, right? Ridiculous, like over 100,000 views in one day and maybe 2 days. And then a flat line. It's almost like the video's being removed from the platform.
Unlisted, yeah.
And that's a telltale of, you bought views. Because,
just to please the advertisers.
You see, sometimes you do, most videos, you do see kind of first couple of days, kind of a nice curve up. But then it never really dies. You can still see a gentle, increase. Great videos like the evergreen content. It's a straight line in this never stops. Like I've got a couple of those. But most videos, you see the bump and then it flat lines, but never like you can put a ruler in some of the stuff, right? So what I'm having to tell brands is like when they come back and say, "Well, your views fluctuate or your views are not consistent," I'm like, well, if you want views, you can go to these channels that inflate the views, and you can, but your product is not being seen by real
viewers,
humans.
Yeah.
But mate, it's so ridiculous. You can go in there and you can see. I won't share the creator's name here, but offline I'll share the channel. There's more than one, but you can go in there and you can see like 500,000 views, 36 comments. I'm like, what? It's like,
and brands have got to be smart to that, surely.
They're not, and there's some huge brands investing in these channels, and I can just see, well, if they're paying for CPM, right? That's what they say. Well, they're probably, the creators probably said, "Oh, I've tried this once," and probably just got this. It's like probably like crack, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of it now. But every single video, and the products sometimes are like completely random products, and you're getting 500, 400,000 views. It's just laughable.
It screws it for us, doesn't it?
And it frustrates me because brands will say to me, "Oh, your channel doesn't get the right number of views." Like, well, but they're humans, right? And they're going there, and if you see the engagement of people, they're commenting, they're like engaging, they're clicking through your products. But if the brands are saying that, if the brands are not seeing that, perhaps they're not the right brands to work with anyway.
Yeah, exactly that. They're that shallow that they're just being. I mean, also they have a business themselves. They're a brand looking to invest in advertising. They're clearly used to making money. If they're that naive that they're looking at one metric, but you say realizing there's 20 comments on 500,000 views or something.
Exactly. And I'll just rephrase that slightly, right? Because sometimes when I say the brands, it's actually one person working in a tiny team, perhaps not even working for the brand directly. So the brand probably don't even know what they're doing. They just say, right, here's a marketing budget, and here's the kind of the go to this top 10 creators, and that's the budget for that. And then when you get to people like me and you, it's like, there's $1,000 for an ad. It's like, if that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, there's a certain responsibility. I mean, again, I'm not trying to over-egg my importance here, but there's a certain responsibility if somebody's speaking to me. I don't want to go selling cheap because it just screws it for everybody. It just devalues the whole market. If suddenly somebody's giving it away, then it's pulling the rug under all of us, isn't it?
Yeah, there was an incident. It sounds too serious, right? But there was a case last week actually where the brand first of all emailed blanket like 20 people, and then this creator didn't spot that and replied to all, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do it for $50."
What?
And the brand was a decent. It was one of the top
one we probably would have heard of.
Yeah, it's the top 10 brands in the accessories, like smartphone accessories. So it's one of the case brands.
Yeah.
Not a cheap case, And this guy just responded to all, said, "Yeah, I'll do it for $50." And I was like, I actually, first my first reaction was, what an idiot. But then I was like, well, maybe he needs educating. So I kind of DM'd him and I said, look, you're screwing this for everybody, right? Value. And I looked at his work. It's, he's just starting, but he's not nobody, right? He's not like, you shouldn't be doing anything for $50.
No, exactly.
Like the case is more expensive than that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. I didn't know there'd been an incident, but that's exactly the kind of thing I was thinking. And, this one I was talking about the writing. Well, that's slightly different because it's based on written word anyway. But, equally, I'm not going to give it away. So, but yeah, I think they will always try their luck. Brands and advertisers are always going to try their luck because for them, something for nothing. But we've spoken before, we've done all the hard work. We found their demographic. We found their audience. They clearly want to advertise with us because we can get their product in front of people.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we've just about covered everything we needed to vent our spleens about. So it's been such a long wait, but we are back, and hopefully 2 weeks' time we'll be back again.
It's got dark in here now.
It's dark here. Well, I say that. I've got blackout curtains anyway, so for me everything's dark. I don't know what time it is out there. So also we are now on YouTube Music as well. So we've sorted out the RSS feed, one of on there. It seems to be a very popular platform for people to listen to the podcast on. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time chewing the fat. Awesome. Alex, it's been good to get back in the seat with you.
See you soon, mate.
See you soon. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye.